Hey guys, welcome to this week's review of The Real Housewives of Atlanta, Season 14, Episode 6. Let's get into it. So, I want to start this review off by giving out my honorary kudos. And the first one of this review goes to Candy for, Candy, I'm assuming. I'm assuming because Candy, I don't think Candy can speak Mandarin, and I'm assuming it was Mandarin because I don't speak Mandarin, but I'm just assuming that's the language that. What's her son's name again? Oh my god, why do I want to say it's not AJ? It's not Blaze because that's the baby. Oh my god, what is his name? He's so cute, and I don't know his name. Is it like initials? I feel like it's initials, but you know who I'm talking about. Kudos to Candy for getting her son to learn another language. That's like really cool. Okay, let me move on. Because clearly I don't know what I'm talking about. Okay. So, Sheree and her daughter. I just can't get over the fact that like Sheree has a middle-aged daughter. Like when did Sheree get a middle-aged daughter? That's just so random to me. But whatever. So Sheree and her daughter, which I don't know the daughter's name either. I'm sorry, I don't know the daughter's name. I'm terrible. But they're talking about what went down with Tyrone, and Sheree spoke about how she hasn't really left the house. And I can imagine how embarrassing the whole situation must have been. Because the tabloids, they got a picture of her, and, production probably leaked what happened because, they're trying to drum up some, publicity or interest in the show. So, of course, they're going to say, oh my gosh, you won't believe what happened. Tyrone stood up Sheree. So, you have everybody mocking her. Especially, I wasn't mocking her before, but if, I knew about Tyrone, we all knew about Tyrone, were we excited about Tyrone? No. Did we think her and Tyrone would make a happy couple and that they should be together forever? No, we didn't. We all thought, raise your hand if you thought, that this would be a terrible idea. Okay, so when everybody is like in your ear saying, what are you doing, Sheree? You shouldn't be wasting your time on this guy. He's in jail. You're beautiful and you are getting older, which is not a big deal about. It's not a big deal getting older, you know what I mean? But it's also kind of like is a big deal because you're getting older, as in you are going to die one day, and you can die at any age. Okay, this is very morbid, but you get what I mean. Like, why are you wasting your time with this guy who's in jail? And I mean, were they even dating before he went to jail? I feel like they just started to maybe have a thing and then he went into jail. So it's not like this is your husband. It's not like you have kids with this person or whatever. Then maybe I can understand. You didn't know this guy like that, or you didn't know him relationship wise. So why, like, is he really that amazing? Is his personality that great? I don't know. I'm not seeing it. So like I said, everybody's probably in Sheree's ear telling her this is a bad idea, this is a bad idea, but she's sticking by him because she loves him. And then he sticks her up. No, I mean, correction. He stands her up? He stood her up. Okay, he stood her up. Oh my gosh, grammar. You know what I'm trying to say. He didn't show up. Okay? Left her there sitting like a fool. She drove an hour and a half. I mean, she didn't drive, but still, an hour and a half with the cameras and everything. So I can imagine how embarrassing that is, because all those people like myself that were like, this is not a good idea, are now pointing the finger like, I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. And like, you don't want to hear that. It's hard enough dealing with someone breaking your heart and letting you down, the last thing you want is a bunch of people kind of, and they don't even have to say it. Let's just be real. Like, they're thinking it. You can see it in their eyes that they're like, psh, well, what did you expect, Even Candy, Candy is kind of rubbing me the wrong way. Now, to be fair, the confessionals are filmed after, so maybe this is after it becomes apparent that her and Sheree have kind of beef. But like Candy's confessionals is kind of the thing that you want to avoid. Candy being like, well, he must have another woman and da 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 da. And even though you don't want to hear that, I don't know, maybe Candy has a point, right? Because we were told that it was like a parole violation, that's why he couldn't show up. But I don't know. Is it a parole violation for him to be on camera? Like, I don't know what it is, right? I never been to jail. I don't know what the rules are for jaildom, and I don't want to know. I want to be ignorant when it comes to this. Okay, I've been blessed to be ignorant. So, I don't know, but like even then, even if it was a parole violation, I think I said in my last review, Sheree should not be finding out by, like, from the producer. She should be finding out by him. He should have called her right away and be like, oh my gosh, babe, I'm so, 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 so sorry, but I can't come. It's a violation and blah, 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 blah. He should be crying blood. Okay. Maybe not blood, but you know what I mean. He should be really, really, really devastated and upset and like something. And when Sheree was talking to her daughter and was like, oh yeah, he just called me the next day like it was no big deal. He didn't even apologize or anything. He was just like, so how's the weather in Atlanta? Like, I don't know. Like, he acted like it was no big deal. And that is just very, very strange to me. That is very, I don't even know what that is. Like, it's so bizarre. I doubt if Sheree is even telling me the truth. That's how bizarre it is. And if this is true, I don't really think why, and I get it because we've all made mistakes in love and we all kind of maybe stayed in situations longer than we should have. But like, what the hey? It's almost like psychopath. What's with me and words today? I think psychopathic, sociopathic. I think that's a word, right? One of those two. That's what it's coming off. It's coming off like you kind of just humiliated somebody and you don't have any sort of remorse and you're supposed to be in love with this person. I don't know. It seems like almost spiteful. Like maybe she did something to embarrass him or whatever, so he was like, okay, I'm gonna get you back. Like, that's what it's coming off as. Like, I don't know. Something's missing with this story, I feel like. And just the fact that Sheree is even like contemplating giving this guy another chance. And like I said, I get it. Maybe not to this degree, thankfully, but I understand that sometimes you stay longer in situations than you should. You have friends that stay longer in situations that they should. So this is nothing new, but it's just weird. It's just weird. And I feel like we're missing something. But moving on. So Drew and Kenya meet up and they meet up for lunch, I presume. And I'm really happy that they are on better terms. I'm definitely enjoying Drew a lot more this season. I think last season, like I said before, she came off really try hard. Now, I mean, she still is extra, but I do think that's just her personality. She is an actress, so she knows what the assignment is. So she's going to give us a little, she's going to give us a little something, but at least now it feels a tad bit more natural. And now that Kenya is not trying so hard her damn self to be such a villain, I feel like, okay, now we can see Kenya kind of at least attempt to formulate bonds with these ladies, because like with the previous seasons, it just got to a point where you could tell that everybody hated everybody. You know what I mean? And that is only entertaining like for 5.3 seconds. We do want to see, I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I want to see genuine bonds being formed with the ladies. I at least like, look, I'm not naive, okay? I know they're filming a reality television show. I know not everybody is BFFs, but I want to believe it, okay? I want to believe it for at least 5.4 seconds, okay? Just for 5.4 seconds that maybe these are genuine friendships. Like, convince me, people, convince me, right? Because when you can tell that everybody hates each other, there's no stakes. You know, like when they beef with one another, it doesn't hit the same. It's not I'm terrible, right? But like, okay, let me just be real. The scene is obviously going to be just a little bit more entertaining if you know there is a genuine friendship there. And when there's a genuine friendship and then they actually have a beef or whatever, it's a little bit more entertaining because you're like, there's stakes. Okay, there's something to be lost here. But when they already hate each other and this is a job and they're just arguing to argue, it's just, I don't know, it feels kind of cheap to me. Right? So, I don't know. I mean, I don't think they're gonna cancel Atlanta, but maybe this season is not gonna be the ratings hit. But I think this is a building season. You know, I think it's a season where relationships and bonds should be like built up, and then it's gonna be one of those things that are gonna set us up for the following seasons. And I'm just speaking BS right now. I don't know what the hell I'm saying. Okay, who knows what's gonna happen with the show, really and truly. But I do like the ladies, so I hope it, you know. Moving on. Wait, not moving on. Let's go back to Kenya and Drew. So yeah, they're bonding over their ex-husbands. I mean, well, one current husband, one ex-husband. I mean, not really, because the divorce isn't finalized yet. But there are some, speculations as to whether Mark and Kenya were even married in the first place. But I'm gonna give Kenya the benefit of the doubt and say that they were married. But if they weren't really married, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised, okay? But anywho, yeah, they're bonding over their toxic peoples, okay? So I don't know if that's necessarily a good thing to bond over and formulate a friendship with somebody over, but hey, whatever. Okay. And okay, Kenya also spoke about Candy. Ooh, the BFFs, the alliance are having, a bit of a tiff here. Cuz I agree with Kenya. It is kind of inappropriate to kind of expect everybody to wear sex toys with other people's husbands on camera. That's a little too a little bit too much. That's weird. Okay, that is kind of weird. So I totally understand why Kenya would feel some type of way, and I don't think Kenya is being messy this time. Okay. They also talked about Sanya. I think it's Sanya. I think because Sanya said her name a couple of times this episode, and you think I would have learned her name because she said her own name like 12 times, but I'm still kind of confused. Is it Sonia? It's Sanya. I think it's Sanya. I'm gonna go final answer, Sanya. Okay. So, Drew spoke on how Sanya invited her to this mommy something. I know, I'm terrible. I don't know. Sanya sells some sweatshirts or hoodies or whatever. She has a blog about moms and mommies, and, kudos for her. So she invited Drew, but then because her and Drew had their problem, she uninvited Drew. And Sanya's reasoning, which I can understand, it's that the photo shoot is like, it's professional, it's for work. And she didn't want to get into an argument with Drew while she's on set and she's there for work. So, maybe she needs to speak, like, it's probably best for them to speak another time to hash everything out, which is fair. I think it's fair, but then from Drew's perspective, I kind of understand, because, like, the beef with Sanya sort of comes out of nowhere because Drew hasn't really done anything to Sanya, if I'm gonna be really honest. Like, they haven't really had a beef or whatever, so for Sanya to be so mad at Drew out of nowhere is kind of left field. But I think it's just one of those situations where you don't really know somebody that well. They quote unquote bring you into the group, and after seeing how they move for a while, you realize, like, you know what? I don't really like this person. You don't really have a real reason not to like this person, but you just don't like them. You know? And when you don't have a reason, you're like kind of rattling your brain trying to come up with something, trying to think of a reason not to like them, and then you kind of are like just nitpicking every little thing that they do and trying to cause drama with them, like, this is why I don't like you, this is why I don't like you, that's why I don't like you. But then when you say it out loud, it just seems really petty, because it's like, is that a like a quote unquote an appropriate or a real reason not to like somebody, especially if they haven't done anything to you directly? But I don't know, I think in life it's okay for you to not like somebody. I don't think you need to have like a big discussion. But because this is reality television, I think they are kind of poked and prodded by the producers to have conversations that in real life you wouldn't necessarily have. You would kind of just be like, yeah, I don't really like this person, and that's okay. So I'm gonna go over here, they go over there. If I see them, there is no beef, but I don't really like them like that. And I can understand why Sanya is not feeling Drew, because Drew has some ways about her that are not very likable. Maybe good for television, but not the most likable. It is what it is. So I don't think Sanya was too messy for not inviting her, to be honest with you. But whatever, moving on, moving on. What else happened? What else happened? Okay. So Marlo is so sweet. I really like Marlo, as you guys can tell. Marlo is so sweet. I wish I had a friend like Marlo. You know what I mean? Like, just kind of create like a private shopping experience for me. Like, bake me cupcakes, buy me a cake, get me chicken wings and fries and all that to cheer me up, like, and alcohol. That sounds amazing. So, yes, so I think it was Marlo, Kenya, and Sheree. They're the single ladies within the group. So they were supposed to have this kind of single ladies' night to cheer up Sheree. They also got a masseuse and everything. Like, that's so sweet. Kenya is not able to show up because she's sick. Kenya was very much giving me, when you're like calling sick, calling in sick at work, and you're not really that sick, if you know what I mean. I mean, I don't know what that means, because I would never do such a terrible thing like that. Being dishonest, what? Never. But I heard from some people, when you're calling in work and you're like, hey guys, hey, yeah, I'm not really feeling really good today. I think I'm gonna have to call in sick. That's what Kenya was giving me, right? And it didn't help that Kenya was in full glam as well. You know what I mean? Her cleavage up to her neck. Her hair big and voluminous, and being like, I'm so sick. Like, I don't blame Marlo for looking at her like, what the hell? I really don't blame Marlo, because if that was me, I would be looking at Kenya being like, you're sick? You know what I mean? I don't believe you. But as we know, Kenya did mention to Drew that she was sick because Brooklyn had a bit of a cough or whatever. I don't think Kenya was faking it. I genuinely think that Kenya was sick, and that Kenya wanted to show, but because she got her makeup done and everything to show up. But, we're in COVID right now. Like, we all know how it is, especially if you're part of a big production like The Real Housewives of Atlanta. I can imagine that if you have a little cough, everybody in production are probably going to be looking at you crazy. Like, you need to get tested, like, right now. Like, I can imagine them being a little worried and a bit concerned because production shut down. I don't know if it was this season or last season. It's hard to keep track because, this pandemic has been a mess. But, like, production had to shut down in the past because somebody got COVID. So it's really a big deal. And especially because Atlanta was already behind filming schedule. They already have had a lot of trouble and hiccups, so they don't want to risk it. So Kenya, I mean, she did seem like genuinely sick by her, like that in itself. But on top of that, I can imagine the production being like, yeah, you can't go to this thing, you need to get tested. Now, I mean, Kenya does have a reputation of being like, she sometimes, does she lie? She kind of fibs. She does. So, could she be fibbing somewhere in this story? Maybe, but I do believe she was genuinely sick. Because I don't see Kenya missing work. Because one thing about Kenya, she is serious about her job and she is real professional. I don't see her missing camera time for no reason. And she doesn't have, at this moment at least, she didn't have beef with Marlo. She didn't have beef with Sheree. So I see no reason for her to lie. And I think Marlo is just being Marlo on this one, and kind of like, I don't know. I think Marlo is trying to have a moment, and I think that Marlo is also very sensitive as well. Like, I don't know. I feel like Marlo is very sensitive, especially when it comes to Kenya. And if she like perceives that Kenya is rejecting her in any type of way, Marlo kind of like freaks out and like just does too much. Absolutely does too much. Um. Okay, wait. Before we go to Sheree's party, let's talk about the photo shoot, right? That Sanya did and then she invited Candy, and she invited Kenya. She didn't invite Sheree, she didn't invite Marlo, and she uninvited Drew. I already spoke on Drew. I don't understand why Sanya would not invite Sheree and Marlo. Like, Sheree is a mom and Marlo is a Monty. So why wouldn't you have them? You know what I mean? Especially like Sheree. Sheree is an OG. Like, I think all the ladies would have done well for your website, not just Candy or Kenya. And it's not like you were paying them. I understand if you were paying them and you're like, okay, I can only afford 2 out of the 8 housewives. Okay, it's not 8, but you get what I'm saying, right? I can only afford 2 out of the other 5, so yeah, I'm gonna go with these 2. So, you know what I mean? And then I guess Sanya's thing was like, well, I really vibed with Candy and I really vibed with Kenya, so those are the ones I invited. But I don't know. I think that's a rookie mistake. Like, I don't understand why you would like arbitrarily like separate yourself from the other ladies like that so earlier on, especially if you have no beef or drama. Like, why not invite them? Like, Sheree on your site is not gonna hurt your site, it's not gonna like stop your hoodies from selling. Marlo on your site isn't gonna hurt your site or stop your hoodies from selling. So I don't understand why you wouldn't invite them, because now you just created this unnecessary divide when you didn't have to. And I know I'm all over the place with this review, but when and you know what? Let me say this. Kudos to Drew for helping Marlo set up in Kenya's place, right? Because we all know that Drew and Sheree are not in a good place, but she still came to help her out. And we later find out that like Drew called Sheree because the thing about Tyrone, it was in the tabloids, everybody knew about it. and Drew called to check up on her and to see if she was okay. And she didn't have to do that because they weren't in a good place. But she did anyway. So, you know what? Kudos to Drew. Kudos to her. So when Drew and Marlo was setting up for the party for Sheree, they spoke on it and they were like, well, maybe the reason why Sanya invited Kenya and Candy is because they have the most followers, right? And that's Sanya is a clout chaser, and I never thought about that. Do I think that's what it is? Do 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 do. Maybe. Like, I don't get it. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why you wouldn't invite the whole cast to your event. I mean, you don't have to at the end of the day. You could do whatever you want. But, like, why would you do that? Were you trying to start drama? Maybe, I don't know, maybe Marlo and Sheree can be a little bit intimidating, especially Marlo. Like, Marlo probably said something shady to Sanya during the trip that they didn't show. Like, I'm trying to remember. Did Marlo say anything? Hmm. Probably. I'm pretty sure Marlo said something shady to Sanya. So because of that, Sanya's not really feeling Marlo. But Sheree, I don't see, I don't know, especially if you want to get mad at Drew for how she treated Sheree, right? Like, why wouldn't you invite Sheree then? Like, you pretty much kind of low key ended your friendship with Drew over Sheree, and then you don't even end up inviting her to your photo shoot. It, so I don't know. But it doesn't make sense. Yes, Candy and Kenya have the most followers and they have the quote unquote the most clout, but the other ladies are not going to take away from their clout. They're also going to bring their own clout. So I don't know. Maybe we're going to find out next episode as to why she chose those two. I don't know. Maybe she just, Marlo and Sheree are scary. I don't know. I really don't. Okay, so yes, back to the party. Moving on from that. Um, Sheree shows up. Sheree has a good time. I mean, of course, it's not gonna be Sheree without her complaining a little bit. Um, Marlo brought her, like, I guess her, like, a personal shopper from Fendi or whatever, and they brought some items over, and Sheree, bought $11,000 worth of stuff, which, I mean, to be honest, I don't really believe, but I don't necessarily disbelieve either, okay? And, like, Sheree was like, damn, like, I thought Marlo was gonna gift me something. And I get that, but, like, come on, Sheree. Like, don't be like that. Marlo set this whole thing up. She bought these items. She got food. That food isn't cheap. Okay, she got you alcohol. She baked you cupcakes. She got you a masseuse and everything. So, fine. She's not gonna, like, come on. Like, if we're gonna buy a Fendi item every time they break up with their boyfriend, like, come on, we're gonna go broke. Or some of us are gonna go broke. Like, you don't deserve a designer item because you and your boyfriend had a fight. Like, come on, Sheree. Like, someone threw you a party, baked you a cake and everything. Be fair here. Like, it just looks a little bit ungrateful. You know what I mean? Like, come on, damn. Like, and Marlo's hella sensitive. So, she's watching that being like, we're gonna hear about that during the reunion. Like, I was just so offended. I can't talk like Marlo. I need to smoke more cigarettes. And my voice is way too high. Right? Marlo's gonna be offended. And I would be offended too. Like, I threw this party for you and you're complaining that I didn't get you a designer item after I got you food and cupcakes and a masseuse and everything. Like, dude, what more do you want? But I know that Sheree is just being funny. It's the confessionals, and the producers probably like poke and prod them, and it is what it is. I think Sheree was just trying to be funny. I don't think she was like serious. It was also funny when Sheree was trying to read the cake that Marlo decorated, saying, "I love me, Queen Diva." Oh my gosh, Marlo is hilarious. And you know what? I also love the growing friendship between Marlo and Drew. I just like their dynamic. It's just fun together. It's like great to see fun moments when they're setting up the party and everything like that. Like we don't want to see like fighting all the time. You know what I mean? So that was it was so hilarious when like Marlo was like, ushering Drew out the back door like she's the side chick. Hurry up, the main chick is coming. Like that was funny and sweet. So it was a cute scene, and I also love the heart to heart that Marlo had with Sheree. And you know what, Marlo had a good analogy or whatever that I'm gonna use on myself and I'm gonna use on my friends in the future. Because chances are, I feel like I'm gonna be using this on myself and I'm gonna be using this on my friends. Right? Because we know how it is out here. But I love when Marlo was like, if you had a daughter and your daughter came to you with the same situation, what would you say to her? You know what I mean? Now, I don't have kids, but I can use my imagination, my future daughter or like someone like you care about, like a young woman or whatever, even a best friend, anybody, like just imagine it's somebody else and they're coming to you with the same situation. What would you say to them? Would you say, oh well, you should give them another chance because you shouldn't give up? They've been in jail for 10 years and you wasted all this time, so you might as well see it through. You're not gonna be saying that. You're gonna be like, girl, this guy has been in jail for 10 years. He comes out, you think he would be ecstatic to see you. You stuck by him all these years. You showed him loyalty. You think he would be hella excited to see you. Or he would kiss the ground you walk on. Or I don't know. But he wouldn't be moving like this. Like, oh my gosh, right. Right, and I think that got Sheree because Sheree does have two daughters and she started to break down crying. You know what I mean? And I also loved when Marlo said, look, this is the last time I'm going to talk to you about this, but, and if you go back to him or whatever, I'm not going to judge you. And I also like that Marlo said that because look, I've been there personally, right? When a friend was like, "Yeah, I don't think person is good for you," and guess what? Your butt goes back with that person. And I've been the friend that told a friend, "Look, I don't think this person is good for you," and guess what? Their butt goes back to that person. And at the end of the day, it's like you want the best for the person, but you can't control them. They're going to make their own decisions. They're going to live their own life. And if you're going to cut everybody off just because they make a decision you don't like, you're not going to have many friends, right? So it's a difficult situation. It is because it's like you don't want to see them get hurt, but you know that they're going to have to go through what they have to go through. And if they go back and by the miracle of God, everything works out. Like I said, like you wish for the best for them. And if everything works out and nothing ever bad happens again, then hey, you were wrong. You're happy that you're wrong and good for them. And if they go back and things shit hits the fan again, then hopefully the next time or the time after that or the time after that they learn, hey, you know what? Maybe this person isn't good for me. But that's the decision that they have to make on their own. And sometimes the more like you pressure people and you kind of are hard on people, you're just going to push them away and then kind of push them back into the arms of the person that you don't want them back with, because you're kind of it's not on you, but like low key you are kind of isolating them, or they may feel judged, so they may not come to you with certain things anymore, and they may be secretive, and next thing you know they're going behind your back to see this person, and it just makes this wedge in the friendship where, I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't want to be friends with someone that makes poor decisions like that, I also think that it's also in your right, but also understand that, like, you have to respect the boundaries and respect that they're their own person as well. I don't know. It's just effing complicated. It really is. It really is. But I mean, if the worst Tyrone is gonna do is ghost her, I mean, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. Okay? I don't think it's necessarily a bad thing if Tyrone won't see her, because then you know the relationship is not gonna go very far. Okay? So, not a bad thing at all. Okay, so moving on to Sonia. She has an event. Well, it's not really an event. Her mom is teaching the other ladies how to cook Jamaican food. Yum, yum, yum. I'm here for that. Drew originally wasn't going to show up, but if you guys watch the episode, Drew comes at the end after the food is done and cooked, and that would be me. I would come when the food is finished. Okay, I lie. You know what? I really do need to learn how to cook, so maybe my butt would be there for the cooking lesson. But I have the tendency to be late, so I probably would be there at the end when the food is done and everybody's ready to eat. Okay, so we're gonna see the kind of the fallout of Drew coming to the event the next episode, because she came right at the end. So before that, oh my gosh. I was thinking, oh, not that much happened this episode, but like I feel like I've been talking forever. Oh my god, I'm tired. So actually quite a bit of stuff happened this episode. So basically they're cooking and they're having fun. All the ladies look beautiful. I love Candy's little ponytail. It looked beautiful. I loved Marlo's hair this episode. I loved it straight with the bangs. I loved it curly or wavy with the bangs. Marlo's looking great. Sheree is looking amazing this season. Kenya, oh my god. I loved Kenya's little baby blue dress. That was beautiful. Am I missing? If I didn't mention you, you looked good, but you didn't look that good. Okay. But all the ladies are looking gorgeous. And they're cooking, and Sanya's mom is also beautiful and gorgeous. Yada yada yada. Oh my gosh, I'm tired. So let's just get right to the point. Marlo gets into it with Kenya. Sheree gets into it with Kenya because Sheree's heard that Kenya didn't show up. And you can clearly see that Kenya is a little bit under the weather. Kenya's in the corner coughing up phlegm and they're cooking. I mean, I don't think Kenya should be there right now. I mean, she looks amazing. You couldn't tell by looking at her, but by her voice and her coughing up phlegm in the corner, you can tell that she's genuinely sick. And like I said, Kenya, if the friendship is not real with Sheree, which I do think it's, well, I don't know how the friendship is going to be doing by the end of the episode. Let me just be real with you here. Right? But you can tell, I feel like Kenya is genuinely trying to build a friendship with Sheree. And like I said, Kenya would not miss a scene. So she was genuinely sick. So I understand them being disappointed, but it's kind of silly for them to hold a grudge. So in this case, which is very rare, I agree with Mama Joyce. Like, you guys, just cut it out with this nonsense. You guys are fighting over silliness. If someone's sick, they're sick. What are they going to do? They're sick. It's COVID. She's not going to come. Like, she didn't do it on purpose. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, what would be the motive for Kenya just not to show up? I just feel like they're trying to find, just because maybe there was tension with her in the past, they're just looking for a reason or an excuse to fall out with her again. Plus, they know it's drama and it makes good television, right? In real life, you would be sad at your friend that they weren't able to show up, but you would also understand that they were sick. Like, come on. You know what I mean? So, I don't agree with Marlo and Sheree. Now, Sheree also, and I guess Marlo too, have a problem with Candy because Candy didn't call Sheree to check up on her after the pictures of Sheree were released of her crying, which production probably took. Let's just be real. Production probably took that picture and send it to the blogs. I'm pretty damn sure that's what happened. But anyways, yeah, Candy didn't call. And I understand why Sheree would be upset with Candy. I genuinely do, because like I don't feel like Candy and Sheree have a friendship like that, but they've known each other for a very long time. Like, what? Sheree's an OG, and Candy came the second season. So they've been co-workers at least for a very long time. And I think a co-worker slash friend, you knew they got stood up, okay? You think, especially if you have a friendship, or you have the illusion of a friendship at least, you would at least text them and be like, hey, are you okay? I saw what happened. Hope everything is good. And send them the heart emoji, sad face, something. Like, I understand maybe you're not that close with them. You're not going to pick up a phone. But, like, you would reach out. So I understand why Sheree would feel some sort of way with Candy. I think Candy was wrong for that. I truly do. But I just feel like, not necessarily in Candy's defense, but I just think that Candy and Sheree are not friends like that. I don't even think Candy really likes Sheree, if I'm gonna be honest with you. So, like, when something happened with her, it's kind of like, I mean, if she tells me, I'm not gonna tell her. Or maybe it's one of those things, when someone tells you, someone in the friend group, they tell you something about another friend, but you don't want to go to that friend and talk to them about it because you're kind of waiting for them to come to you and tell you about the situation, because you don't want to, maybe you don't want it to come off like you're gossiping about them or talking behind their back or whatever. So you're kind of just waiting for them to come to you when they're ready, especially if it's something kind of uncomfortable or embarrassing or heartbreaking or whatever. Like, you don't want to be all up in their business necessarily, especially if you and that person aren't that tight. Maybe, but I don't know. Since if it wasn't released to the blogs, I could give Candy more of a benefit of the doubt in this situation. But because everybody knew about it, it's like, I think you could have sent her a text. So yeah. So they, and then there's also another, oh my gosh, Marlo and Sheree again are also upset with Sanya, because it's like, well, how come you didn't invite us? And Sanya didn't really kind of have a response or any good excuse besides, oh, I just bonded with them, which to me is not a good excuse, right? You're new. You should be trying to bond with everybody. Why you just kind of like hitched up under Candy and Kenya. And it was so funny, like, Sheree was, I'm not Sheree, Marlo was like, I'm just now, building a friendship with Candy. Candy is very hard to get to know. So, which I don't necessarily think is true, Marlo. I think it's just you, because Candy is friends with everybody. Like, Candy is literally friends with everybody in Atlanta except you, Marlo. Okay, and maybe Nini. Like, I know maybe Candy can be. I think Marla in the past said Candy is. I don't know what she said about, like, Candy's cold or rigid or whatever, but I just think that Candy doesn't really like Marlo like that. Or I think she likes Marlo from a distance. Like, Marlo is entertaining over there. Or Marlo is good for the show. That's why she kind of tolerates her, because I feel like Candy is a low key producer. So she knows she's gonna do what's good for the show for the most part. So she'll tolerate Marlo, and Marlo is funny and entertaining. But she doesn't like Marlo on a personal level, and I don't blame Candy. Like, as much as I like Marlo, as much as I think Marlo is a great addition, as a peach holder, I would not. I don't know how she is in real, quote unquote, real life, but if she's like who she is on TV, I can understand why, some people may not like her. I probably would not like Marlo in real life. I probably would not like Kenya in real life. Like how, like one of the things that they do is like they say something private to each other, and then when they once they get around, the group, they share that information publicly. Like, oh no, 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 but it's television, so I understand, like, by now, breaking the fourth wall, that's how it goes. In like a real friendship, that would be really, really messy. So yeah, so I just don't think Candy F's with Marlo like that, and that's okay, but they have to film together. And I think Marlo kind of reads that, and Marlo is very sensitive, like I said, and very sensitive to rejection, right? From a specific, I think from all of them, like I think for so long Marlo kind of was a friend to the show, and she was an outsider, and I feel like her place on the show was predicated on whether or not the other ladies wanted to film with her. If they didn't want to film with her or mess with her, she was out of a job. So I think that put her in a very delicate position. So now she kind of maybe still has trauma from that. So she's like super sensitive when she feels rejected from them. But I mean, to be fair, she just got the peach, but I think if the show goes on and Marlo will definitely get a peach again, maybe some of that trauma will go away, because it's like she will not be reliant on the other ladies anymore to film with her, because she has her own damn peach. And maybe they'll bring in people that are friends with Marlo. Maybe Marlo will have her own friend of the show. You know what I mean? So, yeah. So I think because Marlo is messy, she, she brings it, she kind of heightens things for reality television. Plus, like I said, I think there's trauma there or sensitivity. Her and Sheree, they go outside, and Marlo kind of just. And I was really disappointed with Marlo during the scene, to be honest with you, because it's like I like Marlo, but this is the problem with Marlo. Marlo takes things and she just brings them way too low, to the gutter. Like, I understand. I don't mind when Marlo's calling everybody out. I don't mind Marlo calling Sanya a clout chaser. And, maybe, who knows? Maybe Kenya and Candy are trying to form their own alliance. And they're bringing Sanya into the fold. Who knows, right? Fine. You can speculate that. But then when you start calling Candy a hoe, and how she has bad you know what, that's why she can only get men below her tax bracket, and damn, that was a read. Okay, or that, like, Kenya, it was a video. Okay, maybe I can give you kind of reading Candy, even though I feel like you went way, 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 way low, 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 low to Candy, because I feel like Candy kind of at least sort of did something. But I think it was completely unfair. They were completely unfair to Kenya. It's like as soon as Kenya makes one little mistake, they're willing to kind of just go to the gutter with her and be like, "Oh, she's a video hoe," and da 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 da. And it's like, who are you to judge Marlo? To be honest, who are you to judge Sheree? If we're gonna be honest, you know what? Especially with Candy. That's why. You know what? I just put two and two together right now. Right now. First of all, Miss Sheree, who are you to nod your head in agreement with Marlo when it comes to Candy about her dating guys, below her, in the like below her tax bracket wise? When you just dated a guy that was in jail for 500 years, that just stood you up. You drove all the way to Philly in an hour and a half, and he didn't show up. Who are you to judge Candy? Who are you to be nodding your head? Moment of silence. Who are you to be nodding your head? Tell me. Sheesh. This is the thing. It's just like way too low, Marlo. Way, 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 way too low. You don't need to be that upset. Like, say Candy's not a good friend. She only thinks about herself. She's self-centered. She's always trying to sell things. She's like sexually inappropriate. You could say all that stuff, but like to just call her, oh, she sleeps with everybody, and to speak on her husband, it's like, it's too much. And it just, what this does now, when Candy sees this being played back, When Kenya, oh my god. I feel like Candy, at the end of the day, I think Candy can let some things go. But oh my gosh, when you piss Kenya off, oh my, it will never end. And it's like I don't mind seeing beef and everything, but I don't want things to be dragged on. But when you go so low, it just makes it impossible for there to be resolved. Like, how can you come back from that? How can you see that and be like, yeah, I want to be friends with that person? Like, nobody can. Even if it's your job, even if it's your coworker, right? Where you're like, okay, maybe you have to be fake. You're never going to trust that person. You're never really gonna build a real relationship with that person. And then Marlo's gonna turn around, get all huffy and puffy, and be like, oh, Candy's not a real friend. How come Candy doesn't want to be your friend? This is why Candy doesn't like you. This is why Candy doesn't like you. This is why Kenya doesn't like you. So you can't get mad when they don't like you, when you act like an asshole. Like, all they have to do is make one tiny mistake, and you go in on them. Like this, why would they want to be your friend? And this is not smart. This is not good strategy, Marlo. You were doing really good. I was really, really proud of you until this point. And this was pretty much the old Marlo that just takes things way too far. And if Marlo's gonna continue this behavior and bring things to the gutter, as much as I like her and I think she is a good addition, that's gonna switch up real quick. If this is the energy she's gonna bring to the show, this is gonna switch up real quick. You could still be funny, you could still be read and everything, but you don't need to go that low. And Sheree just nodding her head and being a bystander, she's no better. She really isn't. Now, she's known as a bone collector, so I don't know if she's going to take this information and relay it back to Kenya and Candy. You know what I mean? But, like, you're no better by just nodding your head. Like, Sheree should have been like, come on, Marlo, like, you're doing too much. Like I said, I understand Sheree being kind of mad at Candy, but she had no reason to be mad with Kenya like that, to be honest with you. So, I don't know. I'm disappointed in the both of them. I really am. I really am. Okay. So, at the end of the episode, Drew shows up. So, we're going to see how that goes down. It seems like Drew and Sanya are going to be beefing this season. So, we're going to see how that plays out. Anywho, this was a cute little episode, for the most part. Kudos to the ladies for doing your job and entertaining us. And, kudos to production and the editing. There were some cute little parts when, Marlo was like, oh, I'm Batman, and production or editing or whatever, they made this little graphic with Marlo as the bat symbol and whatever, and it was cute and whatever and whatever and whatever and whatever. Anywho, guys, sorry. I'm a little cuckoo. But anyways, guys, please like, comment, and subscribe. Why do you guys think Sanya didn't invite Marlo and Sheree to the photo shoot? Do you think she's clout chasing? And do you guys think that Marlo and Sheree did a little too much, or they have a right to be mad at Candy and Kenya the way that they are? Do you think Kenya was lying? I know Kenya, like I said, she can fib a little bit, but who knows? Do you think she was lying? Do you think Candy should have called? Anywho, that's everything, guys. See ya!